This is Nightline and I'm Zahir Kelvin Abdullah. News making the headlines. Prime Minister calls for MACC AG to strengthen oversight of government agencies. And 14-year-old caught impersonating medical officer at Serdang Hospital remanded. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has called on the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, and the Auditor General to act more firmly by thoroughly investigating all agencies, ministries and statutory bodies for governance violations. He said that governance violations continue to occur and involve not only political appointees but also professionals and civil servants. Speaking at the launch of the guidelines on the management and governance of federal statutory bodies in Kuala Lumpur on Friday, Anwar reminded statutory bodies to adhere to their founding objectives of serving the people. This as some agencies have established subsidiary companies that deviate from their original purpose.
Ada sebuah agensi umpamanya yang patut menolong orang miskin, saya tidak mau sebut di sini. Dia menubuhkan hampir 79 syarikat kecil. Dan kebanyakan itu tidak kena mengena dengan tujuan asal. Dan dari 79 itu 50, lebih 50 mengikut laporan Datuk Seri Zahir TPM.
He added that even when these subsidiaries are making losses, the chairpersons of their respective boards still received fixed allowances.
Jadi maknanya kalau pengurusi lembaga itu punya mendapat allowance kata RM10,000 sebulan atau RM5,000 sebulan, 79 syarikat itu juga dipengurusikan oleh beliau dengan allowance RM1,000 sebulan. Jadi akhirnya dia dapat RM79,000.
He also said that the government will look into the possibility of providing additional allocations to expand the audit monitoring mechanism to all levels, namely federal, state and local authorities. Meanwhile, all federal statutory bodies are now required to set up internal audit units to ensure that they comply with all policies, laws and regulations. Based on the newly launched guidelines for the management and governance of federal statutory bodies, these internal audit units must evaluate and enhance effectiveness in risk management, conduct internal controls, report audit findings that may involve elements of fraud, waste or other misconduct, and recommend improvements to an agency's management, among other responsibilities. An internal audit unit must also present quarterly reports to an agency's board of directors. In another development, Anwar said that there is a need for the government to reassess from a legal perspective the High Court's decision on Tuesday, in which the government was ordered to return 106.5 hectares of land in Mukim Batu to a company. Speaking to the media, he stated that the court's decision has serious implications as the land was acquired for public use and houses a number of government agencies.
Kalau prinsip ini digunakan, bagaimana dengan tanah-tanah rakyat yang dulu diambil sejak merdeka atau sebelum merdeka diambil untuk tujuan kerajaan, kemudian diambil alih oleh sektor swasta. Kalau semuanya guna kaedah prinsip yang ada sekarang yang diputuskan oleh mahkamah, akan huru-hara negara.
Anwar added that while the government respected the court's decision, a careful review is necessary to prevent such issues from happening again. He also said the matter will be discussed at a cabinet meeting next week. The issue follows a lawsuit filed in 2003 by Semantan Estates Sindiran Berhad against the government, alleging encroachment following an unauthorized land seizure. It was reported that the High Court judge, Datuk Ahmad Shahriar Saleh, ordered the government to transfer the land to Semantan Estate after allowing the company's originating summons against the Kuala Lumpur Land Registrar. The disputed land, located in the prime Jalan Duta area known as the Duta Enclave, houses, among others, the National Archives, the Kuala Lumpur Sharia Court, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC Academy, the Inland Revenue Board Complex, the National Hockey Stadium and the Federal Territory Mosque. The government has since filed an appeal against the High Court's order on the land transfer. Now, Anwar said the federal government is open to discussing possible additional allocations for Sabah. He stated that the 16 billion ringgit allocation he announced for the state on May 31st was the total funds for Sabah for this year, but did not cover several other matters.
Peruntukan pengurusan, peruntukan pembangunan, peruntukan seluruhnya 16 saya dah baca teliti. Janganlah politik yang dulu. Kalau nak minta lagi bincang saya elok, saya dah terangkan.
Anwar said this to reporters when visiting the Tanglin Hawker Centre in the city on Friday. Previously, Sabah Perikatan Nasional Chairman Datuk Sri Ronald Kiandi alleged that Anwar's statement on allocations for Sabah was confusing because it did not consider Sabah's entitlement to an additional 40% from the federal revenue and taxes collected from the state. The Home Ministry will review laws and enhance awareness campaigns to reduce the number of motorcycle accidents. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, said his ministry viewed the issue of high accident fatalities seriously, adding that motorcyclist deaths were a major contributor to accident statistics.
Maka tindakan daripada pasukan polis adalah kita tengok balik daripada perkara-perkara basic yang patut kita perhati semula, dan kami bertekad untuk elemen penguasaan kami tingkatkan. Kempen kesedaran akan kami perhebatkan juga, dan ini akan menjadi tajuk di peringkat kepimpinan polis.
Saifuddin also highlighted that fines for road offences totaled 2.18 billion ringgit in the 3-year period since 2021. He added that if the value is used as an indicator, then the rate of enforcement has increased. However, at the same time, the number of motorcycle accidents have also increased. On Tuesday, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim expressed concerns over the high rate of accidents involving motorcyclists, which he said was linked to weaknesses in traffic law enforcement and road maintenance issues. He also ordered for road safety awareness campaigns to be expanded, as the number of road accidents reached 600,000 cases last year, and a majority of them involved motorcyclists aged 18 to 35. How is the economic environment supporting the expansion of key property segments from residential to industrial? And how is the strengthening of the ringgit driving positive momentum in the property market? A promising outlook for Malaysia's real estate market with Malaysia Institute of Estate Agents President Tan Kian Aun this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton. In Selangor, a 14-year-old girl who was arrested on Thursday for impersonating a medical officer at a public hospital in Serdang has been remanded for 2 days by the Sepang Magistrates Court. Magistrate Muhammad Bukhari Muhammad Roslan issued the remand order until Saturday to facilitate police investigations into the case. The teenager is being investigated under the Penal Code for trespassing and impersonating a public servant. Earlier, the suspect, clad in the orange lock-up attire, was escorted by police to the Sepang Court complex at about 8:40 a.m. However, there were no signs of her parents at the court complex. Previously, Sepang Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Wan Kamarul Azran Wan Yusof confirmed the arrest of the teenager at the lobby of Sultan Idris Shah Hospital at 9 a.m. Police also seized a set of medical scrubs and a lanyard belonging to the hospital. Wan Kamarul Azran said that based on initial investigations, the girl had posed as her mother and used her identity card to gain access into the hospital. It was also reported that the suspect had been spotted in the hospital's operating theatre on Wednesday, claiming to be a medical officer, and had attempted to assist with the surgery. Meanwhile, the Malaysian Medical Association MMA has called on authorities to tighten hospital security following the incident involving a teenager impersonating hospital staff. Its president, Dr. Azizan Abdul Aziz, said that the hospital involved in the case must also investigate whether the incident affected the care of their patients.
Keselamatan dan privasi pesakit haruslah sentiasa menjadi keutamaan tertinggi. Kami juga menggesa hospital yang terlibat untuk menyiasat dengan teliti perkara ini bagi memastikan sama ada insiden tersebut telah menjejaskan penjagaan pesakit. Tambahan pula, kesihatan mental remaja berusia 14 tahun itu juga perlu dinilai, memandangkan adalah luar biasa bagi seorang remaja bertindak sedemikian.
As for public health expert Dr. Hanafiah Bashirun, he stated that the standard operating procedures for managing security in all hospitals need to be strictly adhered to. This includes deploying security guards with 24-hour monitoring in critical areas such as operating theatres and wards.
Staf hospital juga perlu dinasihatkan agar memastikan tiada individu mengikori mereka di belakang ketika masuk ke dalam kawasan tertentu. Apabila masuk menggunakan access card mereka, pastikan tiada orang lain ikut daripada belakang. Ini kerana ada kalanya ketika pintu itu ditutup, penceroboh ini akan menyelinap masuk.
2 women, including a headmistress, were injured after they were attacked by a knife-wielding man at a surau of a religious school in Kelana Jaya at 1:45 p.m. on Friday. According to a witness, the headmistress ran to the surau's restroom to investigate after hearing screams for help. She then saw a woman had been stabbed in the stomach by a man, but was also injured by the attacker when she tried to help the victim.
Orang tu orang luar lah, orang awam datang ke surau untuk tumpang solat. Kemudian tiba-tiba kami terdengar suara orang minta tolong, jerit minta tolong. Jadi kami pun keluar tengok. Guru besar, ada ketua guru kami, dia nak tolong perempuan ni lah. Mangsa yang pertama yang dah kena tikam tu. Jadi dia pergi dekat orang tu. Kemudian dia libas pisau lah dekat ketua guru tu.
The first victim, a mobile phone seller in her 20s, also sustained injuries to her head, while the headmistress had a slash wound on her left arm. Both women were taken to Shah Alam Hospital for treatment. Petaling Jaya Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Sharul Nizam Jafar Ismail said that the suspect, believed to be a local man, fled the scene in a car and is still at large. A manhunt is currently underway and the case is being investigated under the Penal Code for attempted murder. UK to review social media laws in wake of riots. This and more from the foreign front after this short break.
Jadilah pelapis moderator yang bagus yang boleh majukan negara kita Malaysia. Terima kasih, Tito.
Setiap mimpi bermula dengan satu langkah dan keberanian untuk merealisasikannya. Kita semua punya impian yang sama untuk dilihat, didengar dan diraikan.
Guys, tahun ni waktunya dah tiba lah.
Realisasikan impianmu.
Diving deep into the business world.
With expert insights and in-depth analysis.
The latest trends and developments shaping the country, region and the globe.
Key insights into finance.
On Money Matters.
Every Saturday at 5 p.m.
On TV3 and stream on Tonton.
On to the foreign front. UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer on Friday has suggested the government will review social media laws in the wake of the riots. Starmer indicated that Labour will need to look more broadly at the sector after London Mayor Sadiq Khan called for a review of existing legislation to protect against online harms. He also warned that social media is not a law-free zone and that more sentences for online offences related to the riots are expected soon. This could lead to revision of the Online Safety Act. In the meantime, more violent offenders are being sentenced on camera on Friday after at least a dozen people were jailed for their roles in the recent riots. 4 offenders are scheduled to have their sentences broadcast from Leeds Crown Court as fears of further far-right riots over the weekend persist. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus and his newly named interim government set out on Friday to restore law and order after a student-led uprising and deadly mass protests forced predecessor Sheikh Hasina into exile. In driving rain, Yunus, who has taken the title of Chief Advisor to the caretaker administration, carried out his first duty as leader, standing silently alongside student and civil society leaders. He called for the restoration of order in the South Asian nation and urged citizens to protect one another, including minorities who have been targeted. Yunus also said he wants to hold elections within a few months. However, the exact timing of the elections remains unclear. At the same time, Tauhid Hussein, who has taken over the Foreign Ministry portfolio, said the primary challenge is the law and order, and if it is ensured, the rest will be fine. Thailand's main opposition Forward Party, MFP, has relaunched on Friday with a new name and leader after being forced to disband by a court this week. According to the party representative, the new party, led by tech entrepreneur Natapong Roing Panyawut, will be called Prachakshon, or the People's Party in English. The representative explained that the name reflects their goal to be a party by, from and for the people, aiming to move Thailand forward and ensure the people are the supreme power. Meanwhile, new leader Natapong, in a news conference, announced that Prachachon will carry on MFP's ideology and strive to create a government for change in 2027. MFP, which won the most seats last year, was blocked from forming a government and ordered to dissolve by the Constitutional Court on Wednesday. The Zionist regime on Thursday claimed they have agreed to resume Gaza ceasefire talks next week at the demand of US, Qatar and Egyptian mediators as regional tensions skyrocket over the war. In a joint statement, the three countries urged the Zionist regime and Hamas to resume talks on August 15 in Doha or Cairo to close all remaining gaps and commence implementation of the deal without further delay. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office responded that Israel would send a delegation to attend talks next week in order to finalize the details and implement the framework agreement. Meanwhile, Hamas, the Palestinian political faction that governs Gaza, has yet to respond. The joint statement comes amid months of failed attempts to reach a ceasefire in Gaza, where Israel's military assault has killed at least 39,699 Palestinians and injured 91,722 others since early October. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida cancelled a trip to Central Asia on Friday after earthquake scientists warned the country should prepare for a possible megaquake. Kishida was due to travel to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan and Mongolia and attend a regional summit. However, he has decided to stay in the country for the next week to ensure that preparations and communications are in order. He also said that the public would be feeling anxious after the Japan Meteorological Agency, JMA, issued its first ever warning of the risk of a huge earthquake on Thursday. According to JMA, a magnitude 7.1 tremor struck Kyushu, injuring 8 people and triggering a tsunami warning. It did not indicate the quake would definitely happen, but encouraged people to be ready to evacuate if necessary. No Dabita falls short in springboard final. More from the Paris Olympics when we come back.
TikTok Awards. Realisasikan impianmu. Didominasikan oleh The Raw.
Police hacking in the raw, be proud, stand tall. Police hacking in the raw, your confidence above all. Police hacking in the raw, every drop transparency. Hacking in the raw, the raw skin destiny.
Budak-budak ni sebenarnya originally dia orang tak dengar apa yang parents cakap.
Tahukah anda, Malaysia mempunyai kadar obesiti tertinggi dalam kalangan kanak-kanak di Asia Tenggara?
Faktor yang boleh diubah adalah seperti pemakanan.
Apakah diet terbaik untuk mencegah daripada bantut?
Sebagai ibu, kita kena perbagaikan jenis makanan. Kita sendiri kena tunjukkan role model.
Cegah anak bantut dan obes kami bincangkan dalam Hello Doktor. Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports, the 2024 Paris Olympics. Malaysia's hope of winning a medal on Friday was dashed after national diver Noor Dabita Sabri struggled with consistency in the women's 3-meter springboard final. The 25-year-old finished last in the 12th women field with a 5-dive total of 244.80 points. Dabita started strong, scoring 63.00 and 60.00 in her first two dives, placing her third. However, she faltered in her third and fourth attempts, scoring 37.50 and 28.50, which dropped her to 12th place. She managed 55.80 in her final dive, but it was not enough to improve her ranking. China's Chen Yiwen claimed the gold with a total of 376 points, while Australia's Madison Keaney took silver, while Chang Yani of China secured the bronze. Earlier, another national diver, Bertrand Roderick Lises, endured a forgettable Olympic debut, falling short in the men's 10-meter platform preliminaries. The 19-year-old finished 25th out of 26 divers, posting a 6-dive total of 313.70 points. Bertrand was ranked 16 after scoring 66.00 and 60.80 in his first two attempts. However, he struggled to maintain consistency, recording 49.50, 34.00 and 37.80 points in his next three dives, which dropped him to 25th. Bertrand tried to make a comeback in his final attempt with a respectable score of 65.60, but it was not enough to propel him into the top 18. China's Chao Yuan topped the preliminaries with 500.15 points, followed by Japan's Rikuto Tamai and Canada's Rylan Wiens. Still on Olympics, national track cyclist Nurul Izzati Asri's debut ended in the women's sprint round of 32 rep charge on Friday, despite having set a new national record in the qualifying heats earlier. The 20-year-old fought her hardest in the 3 laps, but crossed the line behind Canada's Lauriane Jeunesse in the rep charge after having qualified for the knockout phase. In the qualifying round earlier, Izza had clocked 10.709 seconds, breaking the previous national record of 10.903 seconds, which she had set at the Asian Championships in Nilai last year. However, she lost to Britain's Sophie Capewell in the first round, placing her in the rep charge. Izza's campaign in Paris began on Wednesday, where she did not progress beyond the Kerin quarterfinals. Tile Tebogo claimed a McLaughlin Levron surpassed her own world record for the 6th time. She easily defeated her top rival, Femke Bol of the Netherlands, finishing in 50.37 seconds for another Olympic blowout, securing her second consecutive gold medal. In the track cycling event, Ilesi Andrews earned New Zealand's first track cycling gold in 20 years as she beat a strong field to win the women's Kirin final. The world champion held off Dutch rider Hetty van der Wouw and Britain's Emma Finucane in a sprint to the finish line. Three in a family burned to death in house fire. The details when Nightline returns.
Wanita hebat cetus inspirasi cipta kejayaan dengan usaha sendiri.
Orang hitam ni adalah satu objek di angkasa lepas yang mempunyai graviti yang sangat-sangat kuat. Diibaratkan sebenarnya galaksi itu kalau dalam skala kita sekarang ni dia ada belakang rumah kita je.
Fokus utama sukan water rafting ni adalah untuk nikmati keindahan alam semula jadi.
Masa kecil-kecil, nenek suka buat ketan sumbak ni bagi kita makan. Siap lomi kita hari ni. Selamat mencuba.
Diving deep into the business world.
With expert insights and in-depth analysis.
The latest trends and developments shaping the country, region and the globe.
Key insights into finance.
On Money Matters.
Every Saturday at 5 p.m.
On TV3 and stream on Tonton.
An elderly couple and their granddaughter were killed in a house fire at Jalan Sekolah Kampung Paya Redan in Pago Johor on early Friday morning. The blaze, which broke out at 1:30 a.m., destroyed 85% of the house. Muar Fire and Rescue Station Senior Commander of Operations Muhammad Fadli Ismail said a distress call was received at 2:25 a.m. and 21 firefighters were deployed to the scene. The firemen discovered the charred remains of the elderly couple at 2:40 a.m. before the fire was fully extinguished nearly 2 hours later. Both victims who perished at the scene were identified as 82-year-old Muhammad Noor Muhammad Yassin and his wife, 76-year-old Ara Abdul Hamid. The couple's 11-year-old granddaughter, Nora Driana Noor Hisham, was rescued by their neighbours but was seriously hurt in the incident. She later succumbed to injuries while receiving treatment at Sultana Fatima Specialist Hospital. Nora Driana's elder sister, 14-year-old Norazima Modradi, managed to escape the fire. Meanwhile, Muar Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Rais Mukhlis Azman Aziz said the police are tracking down 48-year-old Azman Muhammad, who is the son of the elderly couple and also a key witness of the incident. The individual is believed to have been living with the victims and had disappeared after the incident. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. In Perak, police raided a house in Buntong on Wednesday that was being used as a drug processing laboratory. During the operation, 18.4 kilograms of drugs worth over 300,000 ringgit were seized. Perak Police Chief Dato' Aziz Imad Aris said a local man was also arrested during the 8:25 p.m. raid conducted by the State Narcotics Crime Investigation Department. Preliminary investigations revealed that the 37-year-old suspect was hired to process drugs by syndicate believed to be active since May. Among the drugs seized were methamphetamine, heroin, Aramin 5 pills and ecstasy pills. The drugs were estimated to have a value of 337,683 ringgit. Police also seized chemicals and tools believed to be used for drug processing and a car worth 125,000 ringgit. The suspect, who also tested positive for methamphetamine, had 14 prior records involving criminal and drug-related activities. He has been remanded for 6 days until next Tuesday to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. As Nightline draws to a close this time around, let's take a look as taikonauts hold their own Olympics aboard China's space station. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe, Malaysia.